Welcome to the Skate Like You Podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Hey, it's Mark, Skate Like You Podcast, skatelikeyou.com. So, what an exciting weekend at USA Shuffle in Atlanta. Man, it was crazy. So I'm actually on my way home. It's Sunday. It's about 10:44. I'm on the road, South Carolina somewhere. And I am going to get this episode up for tonight when I get home. Should be getting home around, around 8 o'clock or something like that. It's a long haul for me. I was actually hoping to stay for Sunday, but I had to sneak out early this morning when I realized, I found out, check some email, and then I need to be actually back at work for some stuff for my real job on first thing Monday morning. So yeah, lucky me. But anyway, I actually was hoping to do something today as far as doing like maybe a live pod or at least a podcast to have uploaded tonight. But the way things are going and the way things shook out, I'm just doing it off the fly on the road. But man, I've got a bunch of interesting stuff to talk about as far as the USA Shuffle event went. I got some cool stuff to talk about as far as some announcements. I got some cool content to share with you guys, some cool skate videos, some funny videos, some on-the-spot interviews, some good stuff. So looking forward to getting all that put together and uploaded for you guys this evening. But anyway, so USA Shuffle event, March 2025, how'd it go? So I have only ever attended the March events. I have not attended October. This year was a little different. They kind of shuffled the rinks around, no pun intended. They shuffled the rinks around a little bit. As far as I know, when I would go in March, they would do Kennesaw on Friday, Hiram Saturday night, and then they would do Hiram again on Sunday. But I guess they're going back to Kennesaw today for the Sunday, for the finale. But man, oh my goodness. I'm sure you're aware, but these tornadoes that touched down, that happened with 30 or 45 minutes to go in the session last night. It was crazy. Apparently everybody started getting tornado alerts on their phones. Two of them touched down fairly close to the rink. So they had us just batten down the hatches, tucking and hiding and doing all that stuff. People under tables, under the jungle gym. I mean, it was crazy, and I'm a New England kid, right? I'm a New England cat. I never dealt with anything like that before. I've never been in a hurricane or a tornado or anything, right? So it was real. For me, it was real. For me, it was a real deal, right? It was kind of crazy. At first, they weren't even going to let us out, right? They were saying nobody can leave till 1 a.m. And I guess that's when they knew that this stuff would be at least passed by far enough that, it would be safe for people to exit. But then they ended up saying, okay, well, we can't keep you here, obviously, and started letting people out. But yeah, man, people were kind of freaked out, I mean, someone like me, I try and play law of averages and stuff like that, The odds are it's probably not going to do anything, as far as that one immediate location that I'm at. But it's a little crazy, man. So there's 30, 45 minutes left of the session. Of course, I don't have a clue that it's storming outside the whole nine. The music's bumping, jams, mayhem are just killing it in the booth, right? And I'm having a blast. As a matter of fact, it was because it was kind of coming towards the end of the night, but everybody was still going. Shout out Billy Cowart, man. He and I got on the floor together, and I just told him, I said, yo, dude, I'm gonna be on you, man. Let's go. Because the whole thing with Billy is can people keep the pace with Billy, right? So my thing was I'm gonna keep the pace no matter what. I don't care what kind of traffic we run into. I am not getting off this, dude. And man, let me tell you what. I just went for it. And what's crazy is I was tired, man. I was tired already, right? My feet hurt, my legs hurt. But I wasn't cramping or anything yet. Lucky, I was hydrating, Pedialyte between sessions, the whole nine, right? So I felt good, man. And there was 3-4 straight songs that I, just me and Billy just going until literally, I can't say till the wheels fell off, but until the lights fell off. like that's when we were going, man. And it like boom, lights go out, and yeah, and then like the emergency thing started going off, right? So, but other than that, amazing event. I only saw like one really bad fall, and to be honest with you, it wasn't even as bad as the falls that I've seen previously there. Somebody I went down and bounced their noodle or the front of their face or whatever right off the floor, and I guess he was okay though. We had some Brian Brandley, he's a medic guy and everything, emergency responder, and he was there, of course, and other people like tended to it, perfectly. Everybody's skate fan in a situation like that, and that guy was good. So shout out to whoever that was, man. Hope you're feeling all right. Hope you got all your fronts. But yeah, so that was cool. Like literally, that was like probably the only serious fall, and it wasn't even. I don't even really know what came of it. It was a good event. Kennesaw went off without a hitch. Got to talk to some people, get some interviews, little spot interviews that I'll be sharing with you guys. The first thing that kind of went down though, as far as the weekend goes. So just so you know, for myself. I actually drove down to Atlanta and crashed at Rob McGee Skates. Shout out Rob McGee. Thank you very much for the place, man. Rob, I got so much love for that dude. If you don't know, Rob and I, it's funny is that we met at Steel City. Didn't really talk too much, but then we met again. We met up again like a couple months later at a Flying Over the Walls event in Ohio. This is a couple, 3 years back, whatever. And we really got to talking then, and what we found out, because Rob and I came up in the same neck of the woods, and we found out that we skated a lot of the same rinks, like in Massachusetts and stuff, but like 10, 15 years apart. Right? So that was cool. And we connected, look, anytime, you got some transplants, some New England transplants anywhere, especially down south, they're just going to, like tractor beams, they're just going to find each other, and then you're just going to talk a bunch of shit, because that's what we do, right? So, but yeah, so, we connected on that, and God bless him, man. He's been like one of my favorite people to skate with, to hang with, and do everything with when it comes to the skate world ever since. But yeah, so I went down Rob McGee Skates, went down to his place, drove out Thursday night through the night, left at about 7:30, got there at about 8 a.m. Didn't sleep at all, okay? Just went, right? Didn't sleep, stayed up the whole day, and then went to Kennesaw. And the interesting thing, and also the other, somebody else that came to join us, although we kind of were connected on social media, we had never met in person, but I'm Josh, I'm sorry, man, I'm going to butcher your last name, but Josh Karajua or something like that, man. But Skate Society, if you haven't checked out Skate Society, check them out. All the social media stuff, they got gear, they got tees, definitely hook him up. He's got some killer tees, man, killer designs. He hooked me up with one. But yeah, definitely check him out, check out his content, TikTok, Facebook, all that kind of stuff, and check out his merch. But yeah, so he actually was staying at Rob's too, and he got there a little bit after me, and we had a good weekend, man, just chilling. But like I said, the first night, Friday night, ended up at Kennesaw. That was the kickoff. And interesting thing about night one is right out of the gate, the 850, man, they were into some hijinks, man. 850 showed up with like this spicy wiener, right? Like this little like wiener, and the whole deal was like just you had to hand the wiener to somebody without them really knowing. And basically they had to hold the wiener until they could like give it to somebody else. So now I did get the wiener twice. They got me twice, but I will say I think I probably hit I set like record time as far as giving it away. I gave it to Brian Brantley first night, and Billy Coward, my dude. Yeah, I think he was doing well dodging the wiener all weekend, and literally like the second night, last night, somebody I was gonna say somebody slipped me the wiener. God, this all sounds horrible, but anyway, somebody gave me the wiener, and I within seconds was able to pass it off to him. I got a picture of it actually that I'll share with you guys, but everyone's a good sport, so that was a kind of an interesting, fun game. You know what I mean? It's just craziness, man. So shout out to the 850, all you guys, man. You guys really made for some fun off the floor funny stuff and some hijinks, man. That was crazy. So, but yeah, Kennesaw, Kennesaw was Kennesaw, man. It's still different, right? It's a different kind of vibe as far as sparkles goes, concrete floor, the whole deal, right? And that place moves, man. That floor moves, man. And there's the one wall at the second turn, right? Like, man, if you're not ready, that is a sharp, it's not even a turn, it's just a straight corner, right? And that wall will be like, if you're not ready for it, that wall will just reach out and be like, I hate you. And it will do things to you, man. But it makes for an exciting night. But yeah, Kennesaw had a good time, man, to kick off the weekend. And then head back, and we just crashed out, obviously. Rob McG Skates and I barely made it for 10:30 a.m. McDonald's breakfast. Hey, McDonald's, what's going on, man? Ever since COVID happened, all of a sudden you guys think it's cool to like go back to only doing breakfast till 10:30, making people stress. Making us stress trying to get that hash brown, dude. Come on. It's funny about McDonald's is like, that they literally just were at one point, right? They just were like, we are sick and tired of fighting with people at like 10:27 a.m. or 10:31 a.m. when people come in and just crash out because they can't get an Egg McMuffin or some hotcakes or something like that. And they were like, man, let's just do the shit all day. And then COVID happened, and then they went back on that. So yeah, come on, guys. Come on. Let's go. But anyway, I shouldn't care that much about McDonald's. I don't have... There's no reason to care this much about McDonald's. Like, it makes me sound like a horrible person, right? But anyway, so yeah, did the deal, and then last night, at this point we knew that there was some weather coming, right? We knew, but matter of fact, shout out Brandon Nix. Saw him at Kennesaw on Friday night, and he was actually telling me that he could only be there for the one night because Alabama, where he's at, is actually supposed to be getting these crazy tornadoes, and he tried to batten down the hatches as much as possible before he left. But he needed to make sure he got home for when this weather was supposed to show up. Get back home to the wife and make sure everything was cool. And so when these two tornadoes showed up in basically Hiram, in the Atlanta area last night, like touchdown, two tornadoes touchdown. It was crazy, man. As Michelle Bell likes to say, all gas, no brakes. Man, people were going hard last night at Hiram, and that is what the event is, right? We all know that's what it is, and it did not disappoint, man. I love that rink. I love the vibe there. Mayhem Jams just, doing their thing in the booth. Shout out DJ Silver, doing his thing Friday night, Kennesaw too. But yeah, man, so that, it's crazy because, that floor, it's not the biggest floor, right? And for but the way people go, it's just all gas, no brakes, man. But it makes for a super exciting night. I'm sorry, I love the adrenaline rush of, just trying to stay tight to that wall, man, and passing people on the outside. I love it. I absolutely love it. And the thing is, it's not like a normal session, right? Where not everybody is trying to skate like that, but that is what the event is known for. I know that maybe it wasn't always known for that, but that's what it's known for now. And the thing is the reason I like doing that so much is because, in a normal session, especially depending upon where you're at, you're not trying to fly by people and freak people out, but we got a bunch of, advanced skaters here, man, and they know what they came for. So it's just so much fun just to literally just be passing people, and trying to stay and keeping the beat, and keeping it flow and staying close, but not too close to the person in front of you or next to you. And man, I just love it. So the highlight of my weekend though, man, was rolling with Billy till the lights went off, man. I had such a good time. Shout out Billy Coward again, man. Man, it's so cool. I mean, you make fast friends in the skate world, and for me, maybe I have even more of a little bit of an advantage, right? Because with the podcast, so many of these people that I would just kind of know as like online personalities, and the only time that I would ever really get to know them would be at an event. But the thing is a lot of times, like with events, look, most people are going to skate, right? Like, it's not about the social thing unless it's like before or after, right? But who knows who you're going to end up, where you're going to be, right? So for me, I feel very fortunate with the podcast that I get to really know people in like an hour and a half or something like that. Because, depending upon who I'm talking to, people get real. Everyone's been real, but like some people go deep, and so like, in no time flat, I'm able to get to know somebody like Billy Coward, like in a big way, kind of quick, and it, and especially like for those of you guys that haven't done a podcast, who've never been a guest on a podcast or anything like that, it's an experience, right? It is an experience for people. And even though the Skate Like You podcast, I always tell people, right? Because people get nervous and stuff like that, which is understandable. But I always tell people, like, don't be nervous. This isn't real, right? Like, I'm not, nobody's really listening, you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing to be nervous about. But people do. And when you kind of have a unique experience like that with somebody, you can't help but kind of form kind of like an instant bond. You know what I mean? I mean, first and foremost, we have the skate thing, right? Like that just does that for people that love to skate. Whenever you meet somebody else that loves to skate and has that same level of passion, that bond is there anyway, is a certain type of bond that it's already created. And then for somebody like me that gets to literally just talk with somebody about their entire life as far as skating goes, and maybe like the challenges, their life challenges, and their victories, and it just their whole life experience in and out of skating, it makes for an interesting thing. And the fact that it's in a public forum like that, where it's going to be broadcast to the world. I'm not saying that the world's watching, I'm just saying it's available. It's kind of a surreal experience for people. And so I feel very fortunate, one, for everybody that's ever done the podcast, thank you so much. But two, to be able to have this other avenue where I can get to know these people in a really kind of intimate, but fast way, and make friends quick. And like I was saying with somebody like Billy, like, Billy and I had seen each other at events multiple times prior to this, but just, Billy's a skater. Billy goes to skate. He ain't going there to talk, right? Maybe if you're at a diner or something like that before or after, but other than that, Billy's skating. So he and I really, we might have like gave a nod every once in a while at an event. And then, we get on a podcast, and it's like, we've known each other for years, and then we get to see each other at an event like this, and it's, instant love, instant connect, and I get to have, and the thing is if it wasn't for the podcast, I probably wouldn't have been able to have like just even that skate experience with Billy. Not to say that like Billy wouldn't skate with anybody or wouldn't skate with me. He absolutely would. But for whatever reason, that experience is that much more special. It's that much more rewarding as a result of, getting to know somebody, man. And it's corny, and like, hey, look, and as corny as that sounds, I'll never apologize for it. I will always be corny and cheesy when it comes to skating, man. I just love this thing. So, yeah, man, but like right 30, 45 minutes left of the night, boom, lights go out. They got us under tables, the whole nine. It was crazy. And like I said, I grew up in New England, okay? We didn't have stuff like this. Like, yeah, you had snow, but, and sometimes you had, the biggest thing I ever experienced was like the ice storm of 98. And that was crazy, but like, I wasn't worried about a house falling on me. It didn't go outside, that was about it, maybe you lose power or whatever, but we had a wood stove, we were cool, but like, yeah, so this was just crazy. It was crazy, but you know what? Always going to make the best of it. So kind of when things, the dust settled a little bit and people started coming out of their little hiding places, Mayhem says to me like, hey man, like if you want, we should do some podcast stuff. And I said, that's exactly what I was thinking, dude. So me, Mayhem, Shell Bell, we just hopped on, man. We got some cool news coming. and I'm going to share that video with you guys. Some funny stuff too, of course. Funny hijinks always goes down. Is always going down anytime you get some people like us together. I'm behind the camera, but anyway, but some of the things that we talked about, okay, were obviously the Memorial Day event that's coming up, Memorial Day weekend, 3 nights, DJ Chiprock, Mayhem, Jams, down at Skate Reflections, Kissimmee, Florida. That place is fire. Also AKA Bass Reflections. Everybody knows that place is just off the chain. Let me tell you, I've been to that Memorial Day event, and man, the energy, the vibe, and all kudos and praise to the DJs that just kill it out there. Mayhem, Chiprock, Jams. I mean, they keep that floor moving. But there is another aspect to why Skate Reflections has that, and I hate this. I don't want to sound like I'm jumping on this bandwagon with it's a vibe, right? That whole deal, but it's a vibe, and I'm not just talking about the music, man. Although those guys, they're literally the heartbeat of that session. I feel like there's a soul too to that place, and that comes from the people, man. The people that run that rink, Chris Carey, you guys, amazing job. They were just recently on the podcast, and to know kind of where that rink was just a few years ago when they took it over, to now to being kind of like one of the most premier spots in the South, not just Florida, but in the South. In Florida, it's like that's the place where everybody wants to go. It's crazy, right? And they've done so much with it. I mean, the sound system, obviously, and Chris just keeps doing it. It's one of the craziest sound systems ever. But, the vibe that they bring, the energy, you guys have heard me talk about Skate Reflections before. When we went down there, we drove, some of us from Pennsylvania, and we spent the majority of our drive back talking about just the energy of the people there, right? Just it literally kept you moving. It's so positive, it just was awesome. Everybody from the person at the concession stand to the owners, Chris and Carrie, you felt like they were glad you were there. You know what I mean? And it just nothing but smiles and warm welcomes, and I just had such a good time. So don't miss Memorial Day event, Skate Reflections, Memorial Day weekend, 3 nights, all at Skate Reflections. It's going to be off the chain. You can, all the details are on Facebook, all the social media stuff. Go to Skate Reflections, go to the website. My girl, shout out Shell Bell. She can get you any information you want on that. Make sure you look her up. I don't know when I'm sure she's going to have T-shirts available for that whole thing. Skate Babes Creations. I'm not saying that they're ready now or anything like that, but keep an eye out. Some other interesting stuff coming up. Speaking of that place, and I might end up cutting all this, but I'm going to tell you right now. So when I had Chris and Carrie on, owners of Skate Reflections, Chris had brought up about how he had seen the interview that I did with for the Rink Rat Chat when they had me out there in Pittsburgh, and they were interviewing me. And one of the questions they asked me was, hey, if you could do a fantasy booking situation, you could do any type of event, anywhere you wanted, where would it be? Who would the DJs be? All that kind of stuff, right? And because, look, I'm not lying when I talk about how much I love Skate Reflections. That was the spot. I said Skate Reflections. And Chris and Carrie, shout out to you guys. They follow the podcast, they watch and listen to the podcast, and they heard me talking about that. And Chris was like, look, man, when Skate Like You want to do an event, let's go, let's do it. And I just was, I first and foremost, I am honored. I can't even believe, people want to do events with me. You got to understand, this was a couple years ago, man. I just was attending my first event, right? Not knowing a soul, not knowing anybody, nervous, kind of feeling weird about all these people I've been looking at online and all that kind of stuff. And now, this is going to be, there's 2 events for Skate Like You that's going to be happening, right? So, and I know that you guys are waiting for more information about that other event that I'm talking about. Here's what I'll tell you. Last weekend of September, just keep your calendars open there. I promise, by next weekend, like following next weekend, like literally within the next couple weeks, 3 weeks max, you guys are going to know everything. I promise. I promise. If it was up, it's just not. It's just not me that's involved in this situation. So I have to, respect the game and respect people and respect that thing. So, but yes, so that's coming. But anyway, so like I said, Chris and Carrie wanted to do something with Skate Like You for an event. And the thing was, and we've been kind of going back and forth about like when do we want to do it, right? And Chris actually had messaged me a few days ago, but I kind of wanted to wait. He was messaging me about dates. And the thing was, I kind of wanted to hold off. I knew I was going to see Shell Bell this weekend in Atlanta. And I know that she has been wanting to continue with the competition stuff and incorporating competitions, jam and shuffle competitions more with events. So, and that's her spot, man. So, look, I'm just going to pay respect and I'm going to go to her. That was my game plan and be like, hey, look, I know that this is something that you're trying to do. You want to incorporate more competition stuff with events. So, look, this is Chris and Carrie, they're asking me about a Skate Like You event and like they're ready to go. So, do you want to do this with me, and get that thing moving? And of course, Michelle just always ready to go. Just said, yeah, absolutely, of course. So we're doing it, man. And it's actually probably going to come up pretty quick because we're probably going to try and make this happen in between the Memorial Day and Labor Day event. So I literally just texted Chris this morning on the road and said, hey, just so you know, I'm getting back to you. And I told him exactly why I was kind of like holding off on getting back to him. I wanted to talk to Michelle. I did. And he is all about it. I got a message back almost immediately, like, absolutely, let's do it. So that is going to happen, man. Skate Like You, Shell Bell, right? We're gonna have an event at Skate Reflections this summer, but we're also going to incorporate an event, and we are going to get this. Look, we don't have much of a choice but to get this thing hammered out, ironed out, details good to go, pretty much almost immediately. So you guys are going to know about this fast. And like I said, man, I can't even begin to tell you how honored I am, how humbled I am. I mean, look, it goes without saying that I absolutely love this thing. I love skating, right? I love this. Like, this stuff saved my life. It saved my life, and one is it gave me something that as a kid that was pretty mixed up and kind of, really like could have gone a whole nother way. One is it like, at least, to a certain degree, where it prevented opportunity for just a whole lot more drama in my life as a kid. And, and then to step away from it and, and never take your health for granted, and like step away from it and go start living as an adult and chasing down all this stuff, and then in a blink of an eye, like, you're not sure if you're going to be here tomorrow, right? And I had a rough road, months of a rough road in my life, in a hospital, right? Like, with doctors telling my family, yeah, we don't know, right? And, and then you guys, if you don't know, I mean, most of you guys do know, so I'm not going to bore you with this whole story, but, just like so many of you that have come back to skating, you saw somebody doing it online, right? And so did I. Shout out Lacey Skates, right? Seeing her do her thing online, right? And although you could never guess it, she's actually older than me, right? Like, and, beautiful Lacey Skates. I never would have thought that. But when I realized that, I was like, look, she's doing this. She's doing this, man. Like, I could do this, right? And I don't know if, like, I can tell you right now that, yeah, like, I had a major health scare. But what's crazy about it is that when I was able to kind of recover after a few months to the point where I could really start getting active and really start kind of, repairing my body. I can tell you right now, the crazy part about it, it wasn't in the forefront of my mind as I was working so hard to get healthy and get strong again. It wasn't about like, hey, so like it wasn't about the fact that I had faced my mortality and, or anything like that. It was, I was getting healthy so I could go skate again. Like, that's why I was doing it, right? And so just like so many of you guys that saw somebody on social media, you're scrolling and you see people skating and like, you're like, oh man, I want to get out there and do that again. I'm no different. I'm not unique. Same thing. And what's amazing about it is I got to meet her. And even though it took a couple years for me to actually tell her about it, there's another instance. Lacey's the first guest on the podcast, and that's another instance of, obviously the connection that when I talked to her about this, I broke down in a car one day. I finally had to call. I told her, like, you straight up saved my life. You saved my life. And and then she agreed to do the podcast, and that, like, after kind of being an acquaintance with her for, a year or so, she, like, in an instant became somebody that I'll call a friend forever, right? That I can call or text or whatever at any time about anything. Shout out Lacey Skates. I love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Right? But so you got to understand, like, for me to come into this thing, just like somebody, I hope that there's like someone listening right now that just got back into this thing. Maybe you just went to an event. You didn't know a single person and it felt weird and awkward and you didn't know how to approach people that you saw online and all this kind of stuff. And you're watching this, right? And you're thinking that, like, maybe you're thinking that, like, I'm different or something. But it's not even close. I'm looking at a cell phone in my car that I jerry-rigged, you know what I mean, to do this right now. There's nothing, this isn't real, right? And I hate doing this because it sounds so cliche, but, like, I'm just another skater. Like, I'm the new guy. I'm the new guy with you, okay? But what I'm telling you is that I can't even begin to wrap my mind around the fact that in such a short amount of time, I have made these amazing connections, and that I went from, like, literally nobody knowing who I was to, people that I truly, truly respect. I mean, respect. Coming to me and wanting to collaborate on events and stuff like that. You got to understand, I still don't see myself in that light. It is so humbling. You have to understand how humbling it is. And affording Skate Like You or myself just another way to be able to kind of give back even, like, maybe 1% of what you guys and skating and the culture in general has given me. Skate Like You, if you don't know, although it was kind of just born out of a t-shirt and stuff like that, the fact is that, in a short amount of time, I very much felt a need and an urge to try and play a role in helping and just supporting this culture, right? And kind of doing my part. And obviously knowing that, I would probably never be able to even come close to making the impact that it has made on me. But that's not my business, right? Like, I had to look at it, like, and say, look, every morning I'm gonna make a business decision, right? I'm gonna decide what's my business and what is not. And the fact is that if you just suit up, show up, and you just do something. If you want to be involved, do something. Do something that you love, about something that you love, or connected to something you love, and it will resonate with people. No matter what it is, it will resonate. Because trust me, I didn't I didn't go to, I don't have a communications degree. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a media guy. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like that. It started with an iPhone in front of my face, you know, at a pub table in a spare room in my house with horrible audio, you know. Talk but I liked it, and I enjoyed what I was doing, and it seemed like people enjoyed it too. And I had someone like Lacey that put her stamp of approval on it, right? With how, you know, loved she is in the skate world and everything, and it just kind of took off. And look, and here's the thing: when I say take off, I mean like take off in the sense that like I just keep going, right? Like Skate Like You's not viral, okay? It's not, and I don't care if it is or not. I'm not worried about being in front of 1 million people. I'm concerned with being in front of the right people. I'm concerned about being in front of the people that want it, maybe need it. I don't know. I don't even know if it's like that, if it's even that serious. I do know people come to me and they thank me for it, and I appreciate all of that. I really, really do. It's very humbling in the sense that, like, you know, people say, you know, thank you for all you do, and it's like, I don't do a lot. I mean, I don't want to say I don't do a lot. It is work to do, but that the actual act of doing a podcast for me is just fun. I just love doing it. I love getting to know you guys, right? So it's not work to me at all. It really isn't. I can't begin to even come close to expressing how grateful I am that for those of you guys that enjoy the podcast, that you support it and that you go out of your way to show me love, and I just can't believe what has happened as a result of it, as far as like just continued opportunity to find new ways to, one, enjoy this thing, and two, contribute to it, right? And that's the beautiful thing, man. Like I once heard somebody say, you know, you can't keep what you got unless you're giving it away. And what's funny is I came in here and I found this amazing thing with you guys, you know, just skating. And it was just this natural kind of like progression to say, hey, like I owe big time. And so I started making moves and started doing things here and there, you know, trying to figure out what can I do? What can I bring to the table that's a little bit different, right? And not that a podcast is different. Everybody's got a podcast, okay? But, you know, was there a long format one in the skate world? Not that I could see, right? And so I was like, oh, let's just try that. We'll try that. And what's crazy is that this thing, this cycle, right? It rolls. It just keeps going, in the sense where I came here and I was gifted this amazing thing that we all love, and gifted with friends and fun and like adventure and just all this stuff and health, right? I was gifted with these things, and I didn't feel like a thank you card would be enough. And so, okay, so we start doing things. Skate Like You happens. The podcast happens. And so you start giving back. And then guess what? People start giving back to you again, right? And you can keep that revolving thing moving as long as, you know, you're always paying back. If you're always paying back, like it's that simple. It really, really is, you know? Guys, and I don't want to sound like I'm preaching, but I'm telling you guys, for those of you guys that can get frustrated and some of the drama and all that kind of stuff that happens in the skate world, I can tell you from firsthand experience, that could be a spectator sport for you. You don't have to play that game. You don't. If you play this game, if you find your thing and a way to give back, and that is, man, your energy goes where your focus goes, right? And if you do that, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get surrounded by the kind of people that aren't going to bring that stuff into your world in the skate life. I promise you. Because what's crazy is although I might see this stuff at a distance, the beautiful part is I don't really even see it as it's happening. Sometimes it's happening right in front of me, but that's not where my focus is, right? I don't see it. I hear about it later, and then I don't have to care about it. And it's amazing though, because but why? Why don't I see it? Because I'm focused over here. I'm focused on doing the next right thing for this thing. And I'm not trying to say that I'm, some perfect example of good living. I'm far from that. I'm far from that. But what I will say when it comes to this thing, I'm trying to find out, I'm always looking, what next? What can I give back next? And guess what? Guess what shows up in front of me instead of a bunch of drama? Other people looking to do the same thing. And like minds just kind of gravitate to each other. And then all of a sudden you're surrounded by people that want to include you in their thing. I'm telling you right now, this thing can be whatever you want it to be. It can be whatever you want it to be. This thing can be whatever you want. It can be as amazing as you want it. It can be as dramatic as you want it. It can be as heartbreaking as you want it. But it does not have to be. It doesn't have to be. I'm fortunate that when I did get scooped up by some people in this game, if you know me, you know that I will never be able to ever pay back Ed, OG Smooth, shout out, Ray Stitt, Big Daddy Ray. Here's the thing, if you're wondering about what can you do, let me tell you right now, you can be one of two things to somebody. A lot of us get here, we come back, if we're returning after years, a lot of us get here as a result of maybe what we saw on social media. So one, just that. And it doesn't have to be in a video of you being an amazing skater. Just show people what's available here as far as good life, fun, family. Just make that available for people to witness it. And they just come looking for it, like I did, maybe you did. I think the next job is when that person gets there and they show up at that rink. You can be the one that puts your hand out to them. You can be the one to say, hey, haven't seen you before. Welcome. I'm so-and-so. Hey, have you ever been to an event? There's an event that we're all going to in a few weeks. Stuff like that. That's what happened for me. It was the person that I saw online that and not for themselves. What they were doing was they were just sharing this amazing thing that they love doing, right? And that was attractive to me, and I wanted in. I wanted to do that, and it brought me here. And I'm not saying, and look, and here's how important that whole thing is too, is that for the person, once they finally get there, right? Because I went around, and let me tell you, I had to look around a little bit. And it was Ed, it was OG Smooth, when I made it out to Philly Skateplex, the first time I ever went there, who came over, extended a hand to me, told me about what they do, the OG skate crew, told me about an event coming up in Pittsburgh, and said, hey man, if you want to go, this is what we're doing. That simple. You could be one of those two people, right? You could be the commercial, and then you could be the person that, the greeter at the door when they show up. And that might not sound, that's the other thing. Whatever it is that you want to give, it can't be about, about you. It can't be about that, right? It doesn't have to be some glamorous thing. Man, I wanted my contribution to be the amazing skate videos, me just killing it at the rink, right? But that was about me. No wonder it didn't work, right? And it's crazy because the moment that I started shifting the focus to other people, all of a sudden, one, it was way more rewarding for me, and two, people started caring. People started, that's what people wanted to see. And what's crazy about it is although I wouldn't have known it or seen it, couldn't have predicted it. It ended up being like me shining a light on everyone else except for me, somehow became my most rewarding thing, right? But the fact is it does not matter. Whatever it is. And if you do other things, I think everybody, I'll say this right now, I think everybody should be a lighthouse for this spot. You know, if you got social media, it doesn't mean you have to be, you know, have 1 million followers. I don't have a lot of followers at all. Like at all. Okay? But, you know, it doesn't even matter. Like I said, it's not about the results. It's just doing it. Right? And so, you know, be that lighthouse, right? Be the lighthouse. And then just be at the shore when that person arrives. You know? That's what matters, man. That's what matters. It mattered to me. I see it matter to a whole lot of people. You know? So this thing can be whatever you want it to be. You can make it whatever you want. You know? I used to really think, like, man, there's a lot of drama in the skate world. There's a lot of, like, you know, infighting and all this craziness. And what's crazy about it is, maybe there is, but it's far from the first thing that I would talk about when I was going to describe it to somebody now. It's not my world anymore. It's not my world. If this thing means that much to you, and like so many I've heard, saved your life, right? Then I don't know, man. I just feel like there just comes almost an obligation to keep this place as attractive as possible for the next person, you know. And I never would have anticipated that this would be the thing that was like bringing me meaning and joy in my life at the age of 44. I never would have thought that. You know, but it does. It does. Some people find it, you know, at a church. Some people find it here, there, everywhere, wherever, right? And I don't know, man. This is what does it for me. And I hope it does that for you. And if you're feeling like maybe something's missing, right? Like maybe some of the shine wore off after a few years of coming back here, I tell you this, man. If you're not a lighthouse or a person at the shore waiting for that ship to roll up, you try that. You might be surprised how quick the shine comes back to this game. I'm telling you. So, thank you to everybody that went out of their way to come up to me and tell me how much they enjoyed the podcast. Thank you. Because I can tell you right now, the way that people respond to it, it doesn't line up with what I see as far as like the viewership and stuff, right? So I can wonder if anybody's watching, right? There are times where I'd like wonder, like, and you know, anytime that somebody comes up to me and says that, man, it's just a jolt in the arm to me. There's like this story, man, like this little thing that I heard about. This guy's like walking along the beach. What had happened was that thousands and thousands of starfish had washed up on the shore. And obviously, you know, they can't get up and walk back into the ocean, so they're gonna die. And this dude looks and he sees this other guy kind of just frantically picking up starfish and chucking them back into the ocean. So the guy goes over to him and he's just kind of like shaking his head, and he's like, there are thousands and thousands of these things. You're never gonna be able to save these things. What does it even matter? And the guy picks up another starfish and he throws it in the ocean and he says, well, it mattered to that one. And I think that's what this thing is, dude. For me, when you come up and you thank me like that, like I said, like I look at it and I I upload an episode to YouTube, and I look, and it's like 150 views or whatever, right? It's, you know, and there's just minimal followers and all that kind of stuff. And so, you know, and then I wonder if it even matters, if it makes a difference, right? And then, you know, you guys, you know, go out of your way to tap me on the shoulder when you see me at an event or a session or something like that, and you thank me, and like that's like, you're literally like, you're chucking me back in the ocean, you know, because it mattered, man. It mattered. And I'm looking at you the same way. I guess it mattered to that person, right? And to me, that's more than worth it. So, but I gotta hear, like, it makes a difference. It makes a difference to me to hear it as well. So thank you for you know, for just letting me know. It fires me up. But, and I couldn't be even any more fired up, you know, about these events coming up. Skate Like You events. Are you kidding me? What? This isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. Or maybe it is. So, all right, guys. Thank you very much. Have a good one. Thank you, Jeff Cooey at Sparkles, you know, for another awesome weekend. Keeping everybody safe last night. Yeah, man, that's about it. That's all I'm going to do. Okay, I want to focus on the road, focus on my GPS, focus on getting home. But thank you again.